Good morning. It's Monday. Hello, Wendy. Hi, Patrick. We were just talking about you yesterday. La 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 la. La 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 la. Good morning, Glenn and Wendy. Lorena Simpson. Good morning. It's Monday. La la. Hello, James. Dentley. The doctor's in the house. Well, good morning and welcome to Bathrobe Moments. How are you? How are you? And how are you? I'm your host, Loren Michaels Harris, and today is Monday. We're inside of June, the first of the third months of the second quarter. Did you catch that? The first few days of the second month. Wait. Well, you know what I mean. It's the second quarter. So how are you? And are you on point with all those goals you threw out there, those resolutions at the beginning of the year or the end of last year? How are you doing? Time for a status check. We're glad to be here, and we're glad you're here with us. Hello, Vicki Williams from Southwestern Michigan, the owner of Tippy Toes on the corner of Main and something in Niles, Michigan. If you need a pedicure or anything like that, stop at Tippy Toes on your way through town. Can't miss her. Golden State won. I'm assuming that's some kind of a sporting event. Robert Brooker, good morning to you. Come on in, everybody. Hi, Emily Silman. I see you with your hearts. Good morning, good morning. Let me give you a wave. That's my girl. And before we even go any further, help me welcome to the show my sidekick, my best gal, Miss Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. Toasted hazelnut today, by the way. Switched it up. And also welcome, if you would, to the show, my other best gal, my background dancer, background singer, the taller of the twins, also known as the travel twin, Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo 2. And our newest addition, the man himself, the captain. Good morning, Captain. Yes. So, what a wonderful weekend. Catch you up on things real quick before we get my guest in here. Wow, we had a block party here. On our cul-de-sac. They blocked off the street. Tons of people came. Everybody brought their grills out to the curb. I didn't move mine. I was on the side of the house. Too much trouble. But it was really great. The kids had bounce houses, water slides, obstacle courses. We really did have a chance to bond and get to know our neighbors. People have moved in, homes have sold, people have come in, new kids. It was just a great time to get to know people up close and personal. And I had never participated in a block party before. I've seen them in movies, but this was absolutely great. Tons of food. I brought my famous ribs, which I slow cooked all night long on 200. And with a special marinade that's inside. It was really great. And then finished them off on the grill. We had all kinds of things. Friends came over. One of my guests, Joshua, who had been here before, the military kid who lives here. He was on my show, you might remember, a month or so ago. And I invited he and his wife, Steffi. They showed up. We had a great time. Joy Turner, our good friend. And who else? Danielle DiCasolo came over with her children, and the cul-de-sac was just filled with people. It was a really great time. And then yesterday, Brian and I went to a little cute town near here by the name of Geneva, Illinois. A lot of cute little shops and restaurants and things like that. And, gas lamps on the streets, that kind of place. very touristy, but beautiful. So we went there and had lunch, had a couple drinks, and there was a farmer's market going on, so that was nice. We hit it as we went in and bought a lot of fresh produce, and just an overall great week. Finished it off last night by catching America's Got Talent. We had it DVR'd. And hi, Vicky. Top of the morning to you, mate. From, that was half British, and I don't know what it was. Anyway, hello, all the way to Australia. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Intercontinental kisses to you. So we did that. We watched that kid, the blind autistic kid who sang and played, got the golden buzzer. I'd already seen it on my phone, but I pretended like I didn't because Brian hates when I get ahead of him on our shows. So we watched that, and then we finished off the night with an episode of Game of Thrones, which we just started watching a few weeks ago. Excuse me. We are on season 2. I think that was the finale we were watching last night. So we're about to begin season 3. It's so too funny because when the first episode came on, because Brian doesn't like period pieces, so he's like, it was like 10 seconds in. I don't think I'm gonna like this. No different than the rest of the world, because now all he does is, you want to watch some Game of Thrones? Want to watch some Game of Thrones? I'm like, aren't you the one who said, Anyway, never say never, right? Keep an open mind to all things. So anyway, today, great day here. Are you here, Ken? So many people were flying through the through the screen. I want to back up here and scroll and see. You know, Ken is on. Oh, I missed saying hello. Hermilo Novello Quiroga. I butchered that. Lorena Simpson, did I say hello to you? Now that's weird. I see everybody but Ken. Okay. So I just happen to have his Facebook page up on the computer, looking for you. So I'm typing in Messenger for you. Where are you? So, let me tell you about Ken. I met Ken at, well, I think we'd spoken. Yeah, we had spoken. You're here? Hold on. Is he on the right page? Am I? Don't see you. Are you on my... Oops. Hold on, you guys. Personal page. Hold on. Send him another message. I don't see him on the screen. Do you guys? See, thank you, Vicky. I don't see him either. He said he was texting me this morning about how do you turn your phone in landscape. Now this man has all these shows and stuff. It's so funny. Hi, Anita Myers. And the people with all the television shows and radio shows and syndicated this and that. Shaking my head, because when it comes to Facebook, the basic things, we got them. They don't. That's because they have teams of people, entourages and things like that. We're do-it-yourself basic people right here. So anyway, I just sent that. He hasn't replied. But let me tell you about Ken. I met Ken online, or I don't remember. But anyway, the first time I met him in person was at the Power Free Symposium in Chicago, where he came, and oh, there you are. Well, you just got here. Don't act like you've been here, because didn't nobody see you. Did y'all see him? I didn't. Well, we're glad you're here now, nonetheless. And now you're all excited. Hold on, mister. Hold on. I'm introducing you. Irk Phillips from California. Love you. Looking like Rock. Not The Rock. Rock. Black folks, you know who that was. Hi, Greta Lachelle Rose. So anyway, he came and he took pictures of a bunch of us holding up these cards. I consider Ken the king of smiles. And I believe his last name is pronounced Rochon, but he's going to tell us. I started to ask him to phonetically put it in this morning so I could get it right. Isn't that a shame? 2 years you know somebody and don't even know how to say the name properly. Again, on me, shaking my head. Ought to be ashamed of myself. Anyway, I consider him, Ken, that is, the king of smiles, because he is the founder of the Keep Smiling movement. How wonderful is that? Wish I'd have thought of it. Anyway, he has this book. I'm just happening. I don't know how this happened. I'm just, out of all, he has tons of them. I just happen to be holding mine. That's right. Oh, is that my name there backwards? Loren Michaels Harris and Ken, whose name I cannot pronounce, Junior. Junior? We'll talk about that. Anyway, 100 Made Men Influencers Color Edition. And in here, look on the cover. Look at Jermaine Jackson up here. Look at Les Brown. And there's just all kinds of people. Look, there's Jermaine Jackson again. I won't talk about that. How come he's on the cover twice? Oh, wrong finger. Who is that? That's me. So anyway, in these books, he goes around and he gets people and you give your quote and you hold up the card and you smile, and you smile again. And all you guys know me. I love to smile. Ding. Got a dirty mouth? Clean it up with Orbit. Ding. Anyway, he's going to tell us all about that. Now, that's just one of the things he does. When I started researching Ken, my hand got tired. It cramped up from writing down all the different things he's done or currently does. For instance, he is the co-founder and director of the Umbrella Syndicate. And no, those are not a group of men in black trench coats. So, also, he is the president of Perfect Publishing. That's something I want to talk about. And also the owner of Absolute Entertainment. I wonder what they do. We're going to find out. And here's another thing. Talk about your overachiever. This is just ridiculous. So he has studied, get ready, y'all, foreign languages at Howard Community College. He studied biology at the University of Maryland. And he also studied education, also at the University of Maryland. So foreign languages, biology, education, and you are now an entrepreneur doing none of those things. So anyway, talk about looking for your purpose and finding it. That's Ken. But he is responsible for billions of smiles around the world, and I just love that about him. So let's get him in here and get this smile party started. Ken, I am sending to pick you up right now. Here you come.
I'm here.
You know, I looked all over the internet to find a picture of you frowning or pissed off or something. And the best I could find was this. That one, and then the one where you were at a mic. Then you were behind some girl's book display and you were, oh, there's the surprise look. There's a lot of surprise looks out there.
Yep.
You know, but I was trying to, if I was savvy with Photoshop, I would have like superimposed one on just to see what you look like. Because I don't believe you ever are not smiling.
I love to smile.
I do too.
It makes you happier. I mean, that's...
It really does. Hey, Ken,
Yes.
What about when you're around people who are uncomfortable smiling and you keep smiling and you see them fighting it like, stop! You're making me smile. You know, it's a wonderful infectious thing. It's kind of contagious, wouldn't you say?
It is. There's some people though that don't smile because they have apprehension of showing their teeth because they're messed up or something like that. And I tell them it's still a beautiful smile regardless. It's your spirit showing that you're loved. So
yes, and you don't have to show the pearly whites or yellow in this case. Nothing wrong with yellow. I'm just saying. I've been watching Game of Thrones. That's all we talk about on there. Look at those, you know. So I'm like, are those prosthetics? So, but I know for a fact you can have a great photo without showing your teeth because my first grade one. I love that picture, you know, because the teeth are missing.
Gotcha.
So you didn't want to smile, but you were.
My son is he's 5 right now, turning 6, and his smile is.
He's so cute, by the way.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
He's such a handsome.
He doesn't have a natural smile. His smile is always like.
That's that kid smile.
Yeah.
Because you smile with all of your personality,
right.
all of your spirit when you're a kid. You're just one big giant smile. So it's as we get older that all of the smile attributes, inside, outside, upside, downside, happy all the time, seem to start diminishing for a lot of people. And I love that you're bringing smile back in a big, big way. So go ahead, introduce yourself, say hello to everybody, and I'm going to let you choose where you'd like to start today's show.
Okay. Well, I am very passionate about publishing because publishing really is your legacy piece. It's your way of reaching beyond yourself. And what are you looking under my hat? I don't have a hat.
I get no. Oh, you call. I get nosy when people start talking. I'm trying to see what's in the house,
Okay.
and I'm looking at that window back there.
Yeah. Let me block it there.
That window is
Yeah.
cool. We'll talk about
Nice
that
window.
later.
So I lost my mom to Alzheimer's in 2008, and I was a caretaker. And you had mentioned Absolute Entertainment. That was my life. I was a DJ for, I don't know, 35 years, and there wasn't anything else I really knew or cared about except for music. And when my mom passed and I was taking care of her, I really thought about, man, life is really a lot bigger than this little DJ gig I have. And I thought about Gandhi and how he says, your life is your message, and create a world you want to see and be the change you want to see in the world. And that really hit me to the point that I said, I'm stopping what I'm doing, and I'm going to take a camera. I'm going to invest in the camera. I'm going to go to every event that's about goodness, and mainly nonprofits and causes. And I went to 330 of them in 1 year, and it changed my life. The more events I did, the more obviously I got my brand out there that I cared. But then all of a sudden I started getting invitations to the White House. I went to the White House 4 times my first year, and I'd never been to the White House before, Loren. So, when you talk about the power of we, and you talk about
Yes.
goodness and wow factor, it's so amazing that God rewards us for just giving our heart and doing good things.
Amen.
So that's really where I want to start, is that the more I did this, the more I realized that my purpose was being defined as not just amplifying someone's message, but about amplifying goodness, which is on the back of every one of the Keep Smiling cards. And to your point about how smiles diminish as we get older, when we're young, we're innocent, and so we think about life in a way of wonder, and everything makes us happy.
Fearlessly.
Exactly. And as we get older, we take on responsibilities, and those responsibilities become serious. And when they're serious, we forget to have joy and laughter as part of our life. And Barry Shore handed me a Keep Smiling card to give him complete credit for the card. He handed me the card, and I said, why are you giving me this card? And he says, you have a beautiful smile, and I want to remind you to smile more. And I go, I love smiling. And I said, tell me more about it. Why do you give this card away? And he says, same reason I gave it to you, to encourage people and remind people a smile is a way of actually bringing love to the world. And I
Wow.
asked him if he did.
Just got
So
chills.
you think that I don't know Facebook? I mean, I didn't know how to go to your live. I was there. I saw the whole thing. I was like, there's something I'm missing doing. It was like, let the host know that you're there. So Barry had no shots of anyone with a Keep Smiling card, no Facebook page, no campaign, no social proof, nothing. And yet he'd given out 1 million of these cards. So I talked to him and I said, hey, I think my calling from God, and the message from my mom perhaps, is I'm supposed to give your card to everyone and remind them not only to smile, but to take a picture and inspire the world. Your smile, your spirit is the most beautiful thing you can possibly share with somebody. And it's corny and everything, but it took off, and I was so happy.
That's funny that you say that. Funny word that to use, because it's not. I mean, it is funny because it makes you smile, but it's so interesting because we put so much pressure, undue pressure, um, and requirements and protocol on what we believe we have to have in place in order to start pouring something wonderful into this worldwide vessel
Right.
known as the human race. Everybody, and it's really just a way to find more excuses not to do it. But everyone, well, when I get to this point, well, when I do this, well, eventually I will. It's like someday, one day.
Right.
The only 2 days that exist on a calendar that never moves. Someday, one day. Never, it has no momentum. But when you smile, you're pouring something into. It's like this is how I look at it, honestly. When I see people smile, because I've sat back, I'm a people watcher, right? Like the other day, I was taking these fake $100 bills. They're really business cards, and you've seen those.
Yep.
They look like $100 bill. You fold them. And I'd like to lay them down on the street or in the airport, and watch people come by and act like they don't see them and put their foot on them and that kind of stuff and ease down and pick it up. But they always smile, even at a little joke like that. And the thing about it is, it catches on. It's like you can touch somebody and then they touch somebody and then they touch somebody. But you hear this thing, Ken. What is You probably know exactly how they say it takes just a few muscles to smile.
Right.
and a whole bunch more to go the other
Yeah.
way, right? And what I love about this campaign, this movement, because it truly is a movement, is that I look at it and I go, you know, I bet a lot of people didn't take him seriously at first. Like, oh, come on, for real? Now there's gonna be a thing. Yes, absolutely right. And look at how it's moved on. So, give us some of your highlights as far as places and people that this movement has brought you to, because they're chosen for you and you're chosen for them. None of it is arbitrary. None of it is by luck or just coincidence.
Right.
Every one of these encounters has been purposefully placed within your journey. So tell us about some of the highlights.
I will. I want to actually acknowledge you for what you do with kids, because you're actually allowing kids to keep their smiles, to engage their
Oh,
smiles. And as you know, if there's one language that is a language of love, it's music, but the next language is your expression, the smile. And so
yeah.
it's universal. I mean, I don't care what country you go to. If you go to Russia where they're all unhappy, if you smile, they get that you're friendly, they get that you're love. And so that's one part. I don't know if you know this, but do you by any chance know how many smiles the average kid displays a day? In other words, how many times they smile a day?
Ooh, that's a good one. No, can we guess?
Yeah, fine. Guess.
Okay, you guys, throw your guesses up. How many times does the average child smile per day? I'm gonna write down. I'm putting
And
mine
and
on.
and, and for the second trivia, how many do you think that diminishes to as an adult? How many smiles does an adult do as an average?
2.
Oh, it's more than two. It's more than two smiles.
No, I was T-O. I say as a child, 2,000. Oh, you can't see it. 2,311 smiles per day, and then as you become an adult, it diminishes down to 38.
Wow. Okay. Well, your guess for adult is right on the money. It's about 40 to 50 for adults. Now, of course, people in the Keep Smiling movement that are adults, they smile more. But the children is 3 to 400 smiles a day. So 10 times the
Oh,
amount of smiles. Now, this is
wow.
just what I've read on Googling how many smiles a kid does. So since you were a very happy kid, Lauren, I'm sure yours was 2,300 smiles a day.
It kind of was. I mean, I'm not kidding. My mom's favorite line was, "He needs a nap," because because I was like, yeah, there are people on here that know.
Yeah.
So I think so. What do you attribute the decrease? What is it?
I think we forget what makes us happy, and I think we forget about gratitude, and I think we forget that life is a game and that it can be played to have fun. When people say I got to go to work and they're talking about the drudgery of their life, they're depressing themselves. And I did this experiment. Have you ever heard of Bob Berg, the Go-Giver?
The what
The
giver?
Go-Giver. Bob Berg wrote a book called The Go-Giver, and it was instead of going to get life, you give life. So you go to give people what they need.
Okay.
And so the Go-Giver, I did it for a full year, and instead of telling people what I wanted or what I was or what I
Mhm.
did, all I did was I said, "Tell me about you." And so, Lauren, you may say, something about me is I have this event for kids, and I'm looking for sponsors. I'm looking for ways to have more impact for them. And I said, okay. And you say, well, what about you, Ken? I say, well, actually, don't worry about me. Let me see if I can find someone for you. And I connect you to that person. What happens is I've just enriched your relationship, and I've enriched your life. So what do you think of? You think Ken's a good guy. He's now a friend in the making, right? So with the Keep Smiling movement, I did the same thing. I took the card, and when I got up in the morning, if I wasn't smiling or I wasn't thinking of happiness, I shifted. And that's why the book is called Keep Smiling, Shift Happens. And I smiled, and all of a sudden, my day actually changed in the universe, and I attracted what I wanted instead of pushed away or attracted more misery. Because if you're not smiling, you're actually attracting that. So that's why misery loves company, right?
Exactly. And you know what? I'm grinning to myself because after I had posted, because I'll be honest, I copied and pasted that thing that I used on your
Well,
post, and where you mentioned a shift happens. That entire block, I copied and pasted. Usually, I do the whole thing myself, but it was a weekend. I was trying to hurry up, right? So we were at the restaurant yesterday, and I said, well, let me go check and see the post, how it's doing, blah blah blah. And I saw shift happens, and I was like, oh my goodness, how did put it? I almost went back and edited it and turned it into shit happens because and then I thought, wait a minute, you cut and paste it. And I was like, should I go back and see? Maybe he made a mistake. And I was, should I call him and find out? But then I thought, wait a minute. Why is this so hard for me to get as far as shift happens? And it's so easy. I'm almost trying to make it fit this negative thing, which really is
Right.
a negative, that we just take. It's just proof again, because how easily we condition ourselves to accept something negative and throw it around just like it's nothing. That's why I told you, words that deceive, you guys. They ease their way in and they jump right in front of the truth. It's like, where you going? Where you going, truth? It's trying to get out of my way. Its shift happens just like it says. So, but that's really a piece of the smile movement, making people or hopefully helping people to see the value. I always say it like this: all those pennies that are right in front of us. We're all working, think we're earning or learning our way towards all these wonderful things, when really it's just a matter of this: remembering ourselves back to the original pennies that we came here with. And babies smile. That's one thing you don't have to teach them.
Right.
They automatically do it. Just like they communicate from a place of need and not from a place of want. We always say, I want a new car. I want to lose 50 pounds. But we don't say, I need a new car, which means, I need to have another job to afford it, or I need to reduce my credit card debt, or I need to eat better. I need to shop better to lose the 40 pounds I want. When babies cry, you don't go in there and say, what's that baby want? You say, what the baby need?
Right.
Oh, the baby needed to be changed. Oh, he wanted to be picked up. No, he needed. And so these smiles, I always go back and remember ourselves. And that's what's so wonderful about children. They haven't been separated from a lot of those original keys to everything good. And so tell me this. I know this has happened. So how about that? I bet you've never been asked this one. Tell us about that time you handed somebody a Keep Smiling card and they looked at you like you were a damn fool. And you know what I mean? Like, I won't know damn Keep Smiling. What's the smile about? I ain't got, they're out there.
They are, but you know what? I don't really engage with those people, because if they're not about the smile, why am I thrusting on them? I'm actually congratulating people that smile or have a beautiful smile, because they're the ones that are being honored for being in the book, actually.
Oh, so you see the person smiling, then you give them the card.
Or I know that they create smiles in the world. And I go up to them, I say, hey, you've created so many smiles in the world, I want to honor you in the book. So it's either one of those two things.
So so you're saying that so this isn't the kind of thing where you just walk out and say, here, want a card?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Ah, so, okay. So it's an acknowledgement piece.
It is. It's an honoring piece, acknowledgement piece, yes.
So do you remember the person who was the most surprised about, what? Really? Me? That really didn't know what they were doing, what they were contributing to?
Well, I will share. Quincy Jones was an interesting one.
Here we go.
So Quincy Jones was at the City Gala, and he was behind the red carpet ropes and everything. You couldn't get to him. And I went to the security guard and I said, hey, can you ask Quincy Jones if he'd hold a smile card? I'd like to put him in a book. And I knew it was a bit of a long shot, but I'd never been rejected yet. So the security guard comes back and says,
must be nice.
Well, no, with the card. I've been rejected in other things, believe me.
Oh, I was gonna say.
But with the card. And, well, think about this, Loren. When I come up to you and I say, hey, you have a beautiful smile, can I get a picture of you and put you in a book? I mean, how do you say no to something like that? That's
right? So what? Me? Oh, my God.
Once I handed the Keep Smiling book, to the security guard, and I said, maybe Quincy doesn't understand. I'd like to put him in a book with all these other celebrities. And the security guard came back with the book and said, no. And so a gentleman named Greg Jacobson, who had a relationship at some level with Quincy, had some rapport with him, said, if you need the picture with Quincy, I'll let him know what this is about. So he went to talk to, he went right through the rope. I mean, no one was allowed through this rope area. Greg got in through the rope, sat next to Quincy and says, hey, see that guy over there? He's got a Keep Smiling book. You want to hold this card? And Quincy looked at me, and then he held the card and he went like this. And I got the picture. I have the picture, by the way. And then Greg said to him, you do not want to be the only celebrity in the book without a smile. So then Quincy changed and gave me a smile. And he has a great smile. He has a beautiful smile. And he was not in the best health that day. He was in a wheelchair, and he was not feeling good. I could tell. So it was
Oh, wow.
probably not the best day to ask him, but it was the only day I ever met him. So that was
Right.
the deal.
It's not like can you come back next week?
Right.
So Ken, shifting gears a little bit, but staying within the smile spectrum, let and just keep it real. How, because this is an important thing.
Hmm.
When we have our things we do, when, like, for instance, when people see what happened in Atlanta or anything to do with Power of We, they get the best of the best because we're in the moment. But there are many days in the build out process, post event, just my regular old screwed up days, because none of us are perfect. And I know that that's why I keep, like, I have a poster in front of me right now with "Witness the Power of We" to remind me. What I'm getting at here is, can you talk about how important this movement is to helping get you back on point? Because not everybody has a perma smile, and some days we have to. Our own work is the thing that's right in front of us to remind us of what it's truly all about. And I know that is a fact, and I know you have to experience it because of the smile factor.
Hmm.
So can you talk to people about that, about how when you don't feel like smiling, what this does for you and to you?
Sure. So first of all, that we had shift happens underneath Keep Smiling. So it can be anything the author wants. I want to digress for a second and say this before I answer that question.
Hmm.
So influencers, the book says Keep Smiling, impact happens. For leaders, maybe it's or for real estate people, whatever, it says Keep Smiling, abundance happens. For my veterans, it says Keep Smiling, freedom happens. And the reason I say
Mm.
that is because something happens when you smile, and it can be a lot of things. What I didn't realize is that when you create a movement and you don't have a backer, you don't have a sponsor, you go into a lot of debt. So you wanted me to be real. This is the real part of it, is that I was doing this because I knew I was supposed to. And I know that you do the Power We because you know you're supposed to do it. It's calling. It doesn't make sense to do anything else with your life. So I do this out of passion and belief. And in doing so, I have a wife, I have a child, and you got to pay the bills. And when you create a movement and there's not backing, you are taking a risk with your livelihood. You're taking a risk with
Mhm.
everything you own. And so to keep it real, it has been tough sometimes. I mean, going to your event, for instance, I have to say, okay, where's the money coming for? Because if I do 100 events, imagine that. That's an average of $1,500 to pay hotel and flight, right? And I
Right.
believe in you, Loren, so that's why I commit to your event. And I see you're the real deal. So
Oh,
the
thank you.
so being real is we're finally tipping. Like it's an amazing thing when you have told the world that you're serious about something, and the world says, you know what, he is. I'm going to get behind it because when you started yours, you had a lot of relationships and a lot of relationship collateral that helped you get momentum. But had you not had that, it's you doing the tipping point with no reward. You putting all the time and effort in. So I'm getting invited to really beautiful masterminds, really beautiful where people have the power to say, I like your movement. What do you need? I'd like to back you because if it was continuing and there wasn't a backing, honestly, I could be looking at you and saying, "Hey, Loren, after the show, can I tell you I don't know if this movement's going to last much longer." Like you just have to be committed to balancing your life, and the
Yeah.
value we give is we tell someone like you, "Hey, we believe in you. We want to tell your Keep Smiling story." Okay, so I invested in that for you because I believe in you, and I know that if we make the Keep Smiling movement an anchor for your event, we're going to bring more people to know that they get smiles. The best indicator that an event is successful is how many smiles are captured. Like the more smiles that
Oh.
happen in an event, the more you got people inspired, the more value they got. And I want to go and digress to value. Think about this. When a homeless person is on the street and one homeless person has a sign and they say, need money, need to eat, and they're
Yeah.
not smiling and they're miserable. They're actually shunning people away because people don't want to say, gosh, that person's so miserable. I want to help with his misery. But the one that's happy and they got nothing, you almost feel guilty walking by them and saying, they have nothing, I have all this, and I'm not going to contribute a dollar. I mean, just something. So that is just the power of a smile. And I want to say that abundance is that you have what you need. And you talked about the baby before. The baby's not crying when they have what they need. So
They have what they
the
need.
cool thing about smiling is if you smile, and if you don't smile enough, start practicing. Get up in the morning and practice smiling in front of the mirror. And the way you practice, you think about what you love, you think about what you're grateful for, and you smile because it could be taken away. And the cool thing about the reward for smiling is you get about 7 years added to your life. 7.
Wow.
So
Then
they've done studies on yearbooks.
I'm doing this forever.
Well, they've done studies on yearbooks. They've done studies on baseball cards. And every single study they've done, and I'm talking Harvard studies, Stanford study, they all show that when they follow someone over the period of their life, like 20, 40, 50, 60 years, the people that had a genuine smile and showed the smiling that was part of their life, they lived
Yes.
longer, they had less setbacks. I mean, think about why would someone have more setbacks if they smile more? And, you know, the person at the work that's kind of grumbly, and who's the first person you think about letting go at the office? You know, it's it's the person who's not happy, doesn't bring positive energy to the environment.
Pissed off Patty.
Yeah, and the thing that's so cool about it is a shift. If you choose to be happy,
That's
it's like
right.
Scrooge. Scrooge was hated the day before he smiled. All of a sudden, he starts smiling. Everyone loves him, right? Yeah, he was throwing money around, but the money was part of his abundance. It was part of his smile. That was the point, right?
Right. That's absolutely right. Now, I want to go back a couple blocks to something you dropped down at the corner of Main and Purpose, where you said, and this is, and I want to because, you know, here's the deal. This is confusing to me in ways, but I'm working on it. You know, when you know, you know, with the smile movement, because when you said, you know, we have to pay the bills, it is amazing to me how you can put in, pour in, and then when it gets to the money making part, I don't care how far down the road, 70% that people have seen from 0 to 70, nothing's been asked of anybody, and they just think, I don't know if they think elves, if you're going to the tree and picking this stuff off, and guess what, I found a tree. Look, I ain't telling you where that, but I found a tree where I pick all these wonderful things up. And then when they see the cost or the, you know, the part where it's like, okay, time to get back into it to keep it going, they have the nerve to ask, like, I'm serious. I have this thing right now going on with the next impactor, you know what I mean? Because it's finally time for that. How do you think we're going to have how do you think you're going to be at the Stand Man? How do you think we're going to have a finale? How do you think it's going to be broadcast around the globe? You came in, it was $25 6 months ago. Nobody's asked for anything, and we're not even asking you. It's the voting process. And yes, I said it. And that, because that's the thing. And then they go, what? Well, what did you think? Because people, it's like my thing is like this. Just like you know, you never asked me for a penny. And there's a book with my name on it. If I had never been published, I can say I am now. And here's all this stuff. Can I pick up anything else in this house where I'm on the cover with all these wonderful kinds of people and what it can do, not just for this movement, but it makes me look good in a way that I would have never thought to say, look, you know, you just don't say, look at me smiling, y'all. You love the way I smile? I knew you did. You don't. But somebody saw something in me and in all these other people that we didn't really honor the value of what it truly meant until it's encompassed in this. So what I'm getting at, and then you sent it to me. To this day, you have not pushed anything on me about, well, Loren, you know, you need to buy about 300 of these and get nothing. You haven't done one of those things. So I know, talk about that mindset. What is it about, you know, why is it that we reject once we say, you know, oh, so this book is $5 or $15 or whatever. We can sit there and shake and agree that it's, oh, this is wonderful. And it's $15. Oh, all of a sudden that's ain't. What is that, Ken? Because I need to know.
Well, I think it's value, and we think about a book as paper, and we think about a book as this information can't be worth more than $20 because that's what it costs at Barnes and Noble. And you know, when you go to an event, and some events are $50, and some events are $10,000. Well,
Yeah.
it's a noun called an event. You wouldn't say, oh, well, Tony Robbins' event, that's just an event. You wouldn't say that. But it is an event that has a lot of value, so he charges what he's supposed to charge. So if you bought a book, and I'm not saying the Keep Smiling book is that book, but think about this. If it had all the people that are in the book that you want to meet, it's like it's a Rolodex. Yes, I know. You are a handsome young man. So
I was pointing at you.
well, the Rolodex in that book would change your life. Like if you go to a mastermind and you paid $5,000 and you met someone, they made you $200,000, you wouldn't say, next time I'm not going to pay 5,000. That mastermind's not worth it. It's just a mastermind, or it's just an event. So a book can change your life. Look at the book I gave you. It changed my life. I'm here with you, man. I'm here with you. And that's worth it.
And let me say this about you, because when you opened the show, you came right out and you said, you know, Loren, about what you do with kids. But let me tell you about Ken. You know, because the one in Chicago, the Power We in Chicago, I really didn't know him or, you know, anything about him. Because, you know, you get a lot of calls when something's happening. A lot of people say all these things and don't do it. But boom, there he was, right there. Taking all these pictures. Then next thing you know, boom, I'm getting the pictures and I'm looking at it. Next thing you know, boom, here's the book. Not once you say stuff and then you disappear. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I'm gonna show up, and then you're there. But then there's a lot of people like, ooh, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna bring this up. And you're like, really? I spent a lot of energy on them, and then where are they? They don't come through. You do. Now, what I love is when I'm still in shock. I've told this story probably 50 times since May 10th when we were in Atlanta. How you came in, you moved something. You had to finagle to come in. You introduced me to Queen Blessing, and then you ghosted because you had already told me you had to catch a flight and you had to go do what you needed to do. And I still am just stuck that you would come on. When I tell people this, they go, he did what? That you came there, showed your face, introduced me to this person that showed me how important it was to you that we got to know each other. And then you went on about your business. What can I say?
Well, let's give a little shout out to Jason. Jason the Bald Avenger.
Who?
Jason.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but he's the one who actually gave you the accolades. I said, Jason, you go to some really big events. I know you have a big heart. You care. Legitimately, where should I be? And he said your event first. And I called you, and when I called you, you received me as a person that is love. You said, yeah, if you want to help, you know, come on over. And you get the smile movement because you allowed it to happen. The people that have a lot of skepticism, they're not allowing love to happen. You allowed it.
May I quote you? Because I have a big Zoom call with 50 competitors later this week. So again, you said, in order to what?
Well, in order to actually receive love, you have to drop the skepticism. You have to allow love to happen. And when it happens, you're not only rewarded, but you grow it.
That's it. Allow. That's the key word.
But
I'm underlining it twice.
but back to you, Loren. You never said to me, "Hey, this is the way you have to behave at my event." You just trusted. You allowed me to do my magic, and that's why it all happened. That's the point.
Well, you know why? Because that's why it's called the power of we. Now, see, if I had sat and thought this idea up, I would probably put all these different criteria and guidelines and protocol. But I knew that anyone who comes seeking this is already you've been chosen for us, and we've been chosen for you by God, by source, by whatever you believe to be greater than yourself. So I'd stay out of it. You know what I mean? Because you wouldn't want to come if you were of the other mindset. You'd be like, I can feel what's going on over there. That ain't for me, you know. So when people seek, you know, if you build it, they will come, you know, come as you are. There's so many cliches or quotes from different things. But the thing about it is, you know, I asked for something in one airport, and by the time the plane landed in Chicago, the power of we was here because I asked for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't just ask for it. I said, and when you give me this, because I'd been at an event my name was on, I partnered, and it was not what I ever want to be a part of again. Honestly, it was not integrity based.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked God to give me a mouthful of spiritual Listerine right there on the tarmac at McCarran Airport in Las Vegas. I said, because I need this gone by the time we land at O'Hare. And sure enough, by the time we landed, that event name was erased, was gone, and the Power of We Symposium was sitting in its place. So that told me, you know, hands off the wheel, Loren. Do this thing because it's been chosen for you and for all these other. This is our thing. That's why it's called the power of we and not the power of me. You see? And the thing about it is, I'm telling you, Ken, I know you take it for granted, and a lot of us do, because the things that come through us, this was scooted over across the table of purpose over to you for the sole purpose of making its way through you. and into the hearts and minds and hands of the rest of the world. So do this for me. Tell people, how do they get their own Keep Smiling book? Perhaps they have a nonprofit, perhaps they have a movement, perhaps they just have a great smile and they love to contribute something positive to this world. Lydia Pyatt, you're one right there. There's tons of you on here. So Ken, tell people, where do they go and how do they find out more about this wonderful movement and how to become a part of it?
Well, Facebook, they can go to the Keep Smiling Movement. They can see my name, Ken Rochon. You're pretty close in the pronunciation, by the way.
So it's French.
French, yes, French.
Rochon. Rocher the candy. I should have known that.
Well,
okay.
you know, I was in Quebec and I was stopped because I made an illegal U-turn, and it was, I think, a little trap that they had to get us Americans on a nice $150 fine. And the guy stopped and he asked for my ID, and I gave it to him. He says, "Ken Rochon," and he says, "You're French," and I said, "I am." And he says, "Do you speak French?" And I said, "Not that well." He says, "Your name is Rochon and you don't speak French?" So,
right, and
so
good thing you didn't know you studied foreign languages.
exactly. Well, I speak French. I just don't speak it fluently. I wasn't going to be able to have a conversation with an officer of the law about my U-turn.
I speak it too.
Do you? Okay.
What? Cafe.
Yeah.
Baguette.
The hotel. Croissant.
What?
Croissant.
Oh, croissant.
Yeah.
I know
No,
that.
the hotel. I want to go to the hotel.
The hotel. Right. You know, they say that the average American speaks 5,000 words of French.
Yeah, because all the cognates.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
back to that question about how people can get their book. So
yes.
Thank you for doing your chapter, because without your chapter, there is no book. And did you ever write a chapter like that before? Anything like that?
No.
It's quite different, isn't it? So
very much so.
So when people write a book, they typically write about the download of the content to help someone become better in a skill set. But this particular chapter is about your journey and what you had to overcome to be the who that you are. So you've gone through a lot of stuff. A lot of people that are leaders have gone through a lot of stuff because they had to prevail. They had to go through challenges, obstacles, failures to create this amazing who. And the cool thing about this, Loren, is the more amazing your who is, the more amazing your why will be. If you choose to have a purpose. Because if you don't go through anything in life, how can you create a why that's going to have that leverage of, like, life is important? Life's important when you get through it, you know?
Exactly. Thank you. That warrants a repeat. Say it again, Ken.
Well, when you go through life and it's hard, you have actually proven that life is actually worth living because you got through it. And so that's the big thing. And
see what I'm doing here? That's because it's through it. Doors of opportunity are what come to us through the Creator, not walls. And so when you hear somebody say, "Oh, girl, don't worry, you'll get over it." "Oh, man, you better get from underneath that." "Oh, I think there must be a way around it." That's wall talk. That's how you look at walls. You don't say that about a door, because a door, you just got to go through it. That's life. That's why it's called the door of opportunity. You ever heard of a wall of opportunity? It's just like growing pains. You ever heard of growing tickles? No, they go together. So see what he said right there. Go through it. Go through it. Because once you do, you come out the other side,
right.
You know something. Because you got to go to know. And now once you know, you can show. Because you just grew.
That's right.
Grew.
So,
right?
So
it makes you an authority.
Exactly. So we went through the first two parts, the who, your journey, and your journey, yeah. The bigger your journey is, the bigger your why will be. And then the third part, which is the most important part, is the how you create abundance, how you solve problems, and how you actually inspire hope and smiles. And I have this thing.
That's the dream. That's the dream killer for a lot of people. That's the game changer. So go ahead.
So if you
listen closely.
So if your how, if it proves that you can create abundance for people, and it proves that you solve world problems, and it proves that you inspire hope and abundance and smiles, what it also proves is that you are capable, so people will buy what you're selling. Think about this. If you can't prove that you can solve problems, you can't prove that you have abundance, you really are just an empty sale. You're just pitching, and no one knows what they're going to get. But if you can prove it,
and
everyone will buy. Everyone will buy because they're going to say, he did it for them, they'll do it for me. And that's why social proof is so big. So when you talked about the smile movement, it's about actually honoring leaders and influencers because they can shape the world. If you think about the world, there's two energies. There's a positive energy and a negative energy, or a good and a bad. So the more we feed the good energy, the more it's eaten up or actually transforming or invigorating the bad energy to shift over to good. And that's when war stops. That's when discrimination stops. That's when bullying stops. You know as well as I do, the more you have kids falling in the fact of acceptance, love, and collaboration, the less problems we have in the city, the less problems we have in the community. And the more success they have. That's the most beautiful part of it. They get rewarded for it.
You know, while you're sitting here saying all that, I felt led to tell you something. I guess I don't know. Maybe you hear this side of it. Hi, cousin Joy. But I want to tell you my experience when, because I keep this book out. You know, I have tabletop books and stuff, and I keep this book out. And when people here at the house are going through it, and you know, they're like, "Oh, this is nice. How'd you get in here?" And da 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 da. I didn't know you did this. What I really look for and see it every single time. And when I explained the premise of what qualified somebody to be in here, it was a simple smile. You see them, they're smiling when they ask you, but then they kind of go like, well, I smile. I want to be in a book.
Right.
You know what I mean? It opens the world of possibilities. It makes them take a look at their contribution potential. Because a lot of people, unfortunately, don't believe that they're big enough, that they're good enough, that they're ready enough,
Right.
you know, to just do something that costs nothing, that does something. And I always say, a little bit of something will always be better than a whole lot of nothing.
You know,
And that's what I love about this movement. It's a great place to start.
yeah, and you don't know how a smile can shift someone's day. There's a story I share of a guy that jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge, and they did an investigation, like, why did he jump off the bridge? And they went back to his apartment, and the police saw a note, a poster on the wall, and said, if someone smiles at me before I get to the bridge, I won't jump. Crazy, huh? Because he was depressed. He was sad. So that's why I love Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A actually really embraces when they're at the counter and they meet you, they bring love.
Yes.
They bring love.
Yes. You know, I tell too, again, and that is so true, because I had a woman come up from one of my audiences once and talk to me afterwards. And she talked about her suicide. And this was a woman who lived in Midtown Manhattan in New York City. She, had her own dog walker and this, that, and the other, right? Just like on Sex and the City. She was one of those ladies, just older. And she said that she had gone and bought all these, picked up oxycodone and Oxycontin prescriptions and got all her doctor friends to write it. And she went and bought her favorite vodka and was on her way up to her penthouse, and her arms were full, and a bicycle messenger flew past her, and she had to jump out of the way, and he came back to apologize for scaring her, and got off his bike, just dropped it on the ground, opened the door, went over and hit the button on the elevator for her. And she goes, once she stepped inside and the door closed, the fact that he stopped what he was doing because he was late to deliver something, I guess he had told her. She changed her mind, did not do it. She now had a $2 million nonprofit that worked with women who felt like, that had been traded in, like, they get the husband to be a doctor and they support him. And then when he gets there, he trades them in for, trophy wives or whatever. So she started a movement for women who felt that they were invisible, that they just and it would have never happened had that kid on that bike not stopped, just like, that guy said. So there was 2 examples of how it can go either way,
Right.
but both based on a random act of kindness, And so can you tell us really quickly, we're in the last 6 or 7 minutes here, and I don't want to leave without you explaining the Umbrella Syndicate, because I picture all these men in black. I'm like, don't send them here.
Well, my former co-founder came up with the name. I simply described my passions in life. I said, my mom just passed. I love art. I love events. I love people. I love publishing. I love promotion. How can I create these 6 things kind of under an umbrella? And I want to have it like a mastermind of leaders, so that when one leader does something, the other leaders rush to help them, support them getting the word out. So let's say one leader was getting their book done for the first time. The other leaders would say, let me share this book to all the people I know. So the syndicate, even though it's got a negative connotation to it, we were doing a play on words, that the syndicate is actually just like any other word. You can manipulate it for good, you can manipulate it for bad. We were manipulating for good.
Amen.
So the syndicate was supposed to be, and I say this because it is, but it's not my focus anymore. My focus is simply the Keep Smiling movement. But the Umbrella Syndicate is a hybrid media company that helps you take an event specifically an event or a book, and put all these hybrid aspects to it, like publicity, promotion, photography, all the things that you'd want added that you can't necessarily afford. Do you know why the average book doesn't make it, Lauren?
Why?
Because they put all the money into making the book and they forgot the most important part, which is the marketing and the campaign. So if you're doing a book, 90% of your money should go into your campaign and your marketing. I know that's unfathomable for some people. They're like, I only have $2,000. Well, find out how you can leverage another $30,000, not necessarily with a credit card, but with trade. So when when I do a book, if I can't make that book last a year, where I carry it to every event, that's a campaign. If I'm not going to do that, why should I even print the book? Because then it's just a bucket list. Average book sells about 30. That's it. But if you treat it, most people treat a book like it's a noun, like they delivered a bucket list, right? But if you think about a book like a child, and you say, I'm delivering a book to the world, and I'm going to nurture this book. I'm going to take care of this book because I want this book to take care of me, and I want it to take care of the world. You would show it all the time. You would make sure that it was being fed marketing money. You'd be making sure that it was getting the life it needed so that it could propel and tip later so it carries
And
you.
grow.
Exactly.
And nourish
Exactly.
and provide. So okay, publishing company, because everybody, it's just like coaching.
Right.
Anybody can throw that
Exactly.
Oh yeah, girl, I don't you should flipping burgers on Tuesday, got a publishing company on Wednesday. So, well, I'm just saying. So, is there an a la carte aspect to your business where if a person needs this portion or that portion, or do they have to buy it all? Or, I mean,
well,
like this marketing and campaigning thing, can somebody come to you and say, hey, Ken, can you help me give my book some legs?
exactly. So we a la carte it from a standpoint of what you buy, but we don't a la carte it from the value proposition. So I say, hey, listen, we're already going to be at all these events. Let me carry your book to all these events. It's going to get a good campaign. It's going to get a lot of marketing. So I do book coaching for people that, that 90% of people say they want to do a.
Where'd your sound go? Ooh, some rival publishing company. See there? See? I know.
There.
One of your rival publishing companies. They're like,
yeah, they're like, I'm stopping this show.
Hit the mute button.
That was beautiful. Yeah. So when we're doing a book campaign, we're always about how do we make sure that book is alive. And if you keep the book alive, it will bring traction. It'll get you the kind of customers and attention. A lot of people think about a book as a business card. That's the new thing. But really, a book should be written so that it gives so much value that people want to get to know you. They want to get to know you.
That's right.
And don't just write a book, because if you write a book and it's just a business card, think about how much effort you'll put into it. You'll just put a bunch of pages and people read it and they'll say, this is not that important.
Zero calorie content.
Right.
I call it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? People that are coming for these jewels, these nuggets, they're not looking for the Atkins diet.
Right.
From a word standpoint, they're looking for fat. Give me a break because I need. Oh, no, sorry now. No. Well, you know what I'm saying. They want something good and juicy.
Well, you brought it in your chapter.
Chewy center.
Your chapter is so fantastic. I mean, if there was ever a way to get to know the Loren Harris, that is a great way. Read his chapter. Read that book. And by the way, if you don't want to do a book, do this template just as a great exercise. It's a great exercise for you to be picked up for radio shows or TV or stage, because you're sharing your heart. It's the first time you're actually downloading your heart into a chapter and saying, this is me. And I don't need to say it. The chapter says it, and the chapter can be sent to everybody. So
Ken, if I'm working, let's say, if I'm working with a person and we have the editor, and because I'm like that, I like to go out and find the best of the best for whatever the thing is. So the book cover design woman, right, the editor, this, that, and the other. I'm working with this person on the content development.
Sure.
So now, say we want to say, Ken, here it is. We have it. This is it. Do something with it. Is that something you would say, okay, here's the plan. Let's go. Here's what it's going to take. Let's go.
That's a great question. And I'll tell you, there's 3 things that we do really well. So as you said, editing, all those things, there's probably like 10 or 12 things that are involved in publishing minimally. Amazon bestseller, et cetera. We are great at creating covers. We love doing covers because covers are 90% of the reason people actually pick up the book and want to check it out. I mean, think about it. The saying, don't judge a book by its cover, that's all we do. That's all we do. If you pick up a book at Barnes & Noble or wherever, it's because the cover attracted you, right? So we do covers really well. The second thing is we do launch parties, launch events super well because,
Uh-huh.
yep. And the last thing we do is social proof. We put the books in people's hands that you would want to hold the book and say, hey, you know the secret? I'll tell you something that's funny since you were talking about the burger and the publishing company the next day,
Yeah.
is how people think their book is worth $20 or $1,000,000 or whatever. It's cost them, Lauren, it costs a book $2, $3 to make tops. I mean, it's not that much. And can you imagine me going to you, Lauren, and saying, hey, this is my book. And you say, oh my God, this is amazing. And I want to be friends with you. And I say, yeah, $20. I mean, it just shuts down the whole thing. But if I give this to you, I gave you a whole $2 or $3, but I gave you an access to me. I mean, that's the point, is a book is a great book, a great gift to have people see who you are. And
Absolutely
I
right.
can't believe how many times I've met an author and they say, yeah, this is $20. And I say, I guess you don't know what media is. I guess you don't know how much influencer can change your life. You never would go to, Tiger Woods or something like that and say, hey, this is my book, Tiger. And by the way, do you have $20? Like, it's just not a
Right. Be glad he took it.
exact.
For free. Here, I'll give you $20 if you take this book title.
Right. I have this saying that
You know?
I had this question I would ask my photographers when we were starting the Umbrella Syndicate. I said, how much would you charge if Obama called, or not Obama, but Obama's staff called and said, hey, we need you at the White House tomorrow, 5 a.m. to do a photo shoot for President Obama. How much would you charge? And they would think and they go, well, my day rate's like $500, $1,000. And they're thinking all that stuff. And they say, I don't know, like maybe 250 or 700, whatever. And I say, my answer would be, how much do I have to pay?
Right.
I mean, that quick though. It's not like I would say, let me get my calculator. I would say, what do I need to pay? And that's the missing link a lot of people have. First link is, I'm making a book. The world is waiting for this book. No, they're not. They don't care. They don't know anything about your book. So that's one. And two, the book is the only chance you have. When you get an influencer to look at your book, you should be paying them to look at your book. Forget about the $20. You should be thanking them to look at it. And that's why I love the Keep Smiling book. I've had people like Jack Canfield and really famous people go through every single page of the book because they're looking at three things. They're looking at, do I know these people? Two, why don't I know these people? And the third one is the one you said earlier. Am I in this book?
Looking for themselves. Right, right. It's funny too, because I bet you if you were to do like a hidden camera thing and you laid the book down with all the people that are in there in the room by themselves, they're gonna go straight to the page they're on first. I already know. And I want you to say, Vicky O, who is a coach in one of our 5 coaches in the next Impactor, the global competition, looking for the next big voice of impact in this world, over in Australia, the publisher of Global Achievers magazine, and is working on a book which I'm in called The Real Influencers. And she said, Loren, let's get him to assist us. So Ken, I'm going to put you and Vicky and myself in a group chat
Thank you.
in Messenger so that we can start that process. And I will be calling you post haste to talk about. I'm glad I didn't have that Zoom call with that illustrator yet. To talk to you about this cover that I'm going to need for somebody, and the launch party part, because I was calling all around trying to find somebody who knew how to do the launch thing. And
launches are fun.
Oh, that doesn't really mean anything. I don't put any stock in that. Well, I'm like, well, good for you, but it's a positioning piece.
It is.
I mean, we're not trying to get on Oprah, but you need to do this thing in the best way possible. And I always look at it like this, Ken, and I say this to all of you. We spend decades remembering back to where we were so we can try things that we feel are outside of our wheelhouse. It was never outside. Everybody said, well, what are the odds of having a #1 book? Don't you worry about odds. We beat the greatest set of odds when we hit the egg first. We hadn't even formed a thought. But then once you draw that first breath, it is no longer about beating the odds. It's about creating them. And that's what people like Ken do with things that people go, well, I could have thought of that. Well, why didn't you? That's all I got to say about it. So what I mean is this. Quit putting off. You've heard this before. Tomorrow, what you can do today. What you can do today. So, Ken, I am calling you about, I'm not kidding you, like this morning,
Right.
to set up a call with this author about this cover thing in the launch party and see if we can make something happen. I'm going to stick you in there with Vicky O. Because what I love about this, coming here today, just like a smile, it is proof of the promise that where two or more of us convene, it's not that it might happen. It's not that it could happen. Not even it should happen. The promise is it will happen. And it did here today. So, Ken, we have so much more. I got to get you back. Can you come back in a month?
I would love to, and I'd like to just let your guests know that you had two phenomenal shows on my radio show, and that's why I don't know how to do
We need to
air.
get to that. Yes, amplify. You know, you need to put in the connectors for
I
that
would be
too.
happy to. I'd be happy to.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Oh,
Didn't we have a lot of fun on those radio shows?
yes, we did. And Ken, I just want to say this in conclusion. I don't care that we're 6 minutes over because everybody's still here. This was purposeful today. And I just want to say to you, when I speak of you, when I think of you, smile pops up on the big screen inside my spirit. And I want you to know that it is such an honor because, you know, we meet people in our lives along our journey and we go, that person gets it. They came from the same manufacturing center that I did somewhere in the universe. But every now and then you meet someone, and this is how I feel about you, where it's not just the same manufacturing center. I can look at you and I understand that we were cut from the same bolt of cloth. And that is a wonderful, wonderful thing because you help me remember when people don't seem to get it, to keep going.
Thank you.
Keep doing it.
Same here.
Keep getting up anyway. And most importantly, keep smiling.
Thank you.
Oh, look, we're on the same page. See? Same boat talk. Told you, we didn't even practice that. So, Ken, thank you. Thank you again. Revolving door. It's always open.
Thank you, sir.
Okay? And for you drinkers, saloon door. Swing back and forth. Always open. So, cheers. Thank you so much. I love you with everything within me. You are the most giving man I think I have met in a long, long time. And I learned so much just from watching you.
Thank you, Loren. You're awesome. Take care.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. You guys are great. Thank you all for sticking around. And thank you to Ken Rochon. Thank you. I call him the King of Smiles, and you know why. What a wonderful, wonderful thing. A lot for us to think about today, right? About just, you know, when you find what you look for. That's basically it. You know, if you're inside of something wonderful, something that's never been in this world, or you find yourself being called to bring something to this world that has never been in this world, approach it with reverence, respect for what is greater than you. If it doesn't make you want to bring your voice down to a whisper, if it doesn't make you feel like you should really be laying flat, prostrate on the ground out of respect that you've been chosen and that this thing has been chosen for you. If you can explain everything in your life, then God isn't in your life. God always leaves that part. There's always some element of, I wonder, because that's faith. And you got to have it. You just have to have it, right? So thank you all so much. Tomorrow, please join me at 8 a.m. Central Time, God willing, where Dr. Freddie Baheen will be our guest, an Olympic medalist in gymnastics back in the day, now a medical doctor and impactor, turning the world of influence on its ear. And you're going to hear all about that. Trust me, this is going to be a good one tomorrow. I'm not kidding you. I mean, that's going to be a good one, like today's. So join us later in the week. Ryan Kneck, Joshua T. Berglund, the world's mayor, and rounding out the week, Chef Michael Kyra on Friday. So a week full of impactful people and impactful stories. The only thing missing will be you. And I hope you don't miss it. So join us here. Get out there today and do what it is we do. Love up on everyone you can. But remember to start right here first. Grab your blessings. They're in abundance. But remember, the minute you get one, now your job is to be that blessing to someone or something else. Leave every person and every situation you encounter today just a tad bit better than the way you found it, and I guarantee you, you'll find that you are walking within the arms of purpose. I'm Loren Michaels Harris. This has been Bathrobe Moments for Monday. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.